Hello, this is Sridhar from Bricksmaven, and today we'll be looking at creating a featured block section. I came across this block section which I found in the Bricksbuilder Facebook group. This was created by Sridhar. By the way, this is bricksections.com. You can visit it and find some free sections and some dynamic dynamic sections and stuff. You guys should check it out, right? You can find some cool stuff on the site. So I was looking at this block section that he created, which is pretty straightforward. It's pretty simple, has the little interaction on it, and the thing about this section is that it does not display the featured image here and the excerpt. So if we click on the card, we can see here that it is not displaying the featured image and the excerpt in the DOM. We can only see we have the H3 heading and the paragraph, right? Whereas if we look at the first section, which can be found here, you can see the image and the excerpt. Now you could say, okay, he put a display tag, display none on the element, which is not the case because you would still see it here. So this would be the optimal way of actually, the efficient way of outputting less lines on your DOM, right? So I thought it would be cool to rebuild this, but not only that, but I'll show you two other ways how to that someone could build this layout. It could be like, okay, someone that is just starting out, that will be the first version that I'll create, and the second version will be a much more efficient way to do it. And obviously this third version will be the best way to do this kind of sections, excluding the featured image and the excerpt. So let us jump in by first creating the first section, which will be 2 columns. I'm not going to be using grid, I'll just use flexbox, so it will be 2 columns, 2 query loops, and 2 different cards that are styled, right? Totally not the best way to do it, but I just want to go through this process. We'll build it together, and then after that I'll build the second version, which will just be built using 1 grid, 1 query loop, and then I'll use display none on the featured image and the excerpt, and obviously add this little interactions to it. Click, and I also make the card clickable, etc. So I think we can learn a lot from this process. Let's dive in. Okay, so let me move this here. Let us just start out by just laying out all the elements that we need. So first things first, we need a section, and in that section we need 2, like I said, we're creating 2 columns, so we need 2 columns. So I'll call this left, I'll call this right, but before I forget, we need 2 more blocks. This will be the intro, and this will be the content, and in the content we'll have the left and the right column. This will be the wrapper, and in the intro we need a heading. I will then make this an H2, just latest news. Okay, that's that, and we'll build out our card here. So we have left, so we need a block, which will be a card, and then we need another block with an image and a heading and the date, and we need, I'll just use the excerpt element. So that's what we need here. The image will be the child of the media element. Yeah, so this is basically our setup, and I'll be using the query loop to pull in the data. Let me see if I forgot anything. I think this is the right setup. On the right, I will also create a card or other block, add a heading and a date. So we have a date here, and this will be the card number 2. This will be our second card. Okay. Now we need to add the styling. I can go in and do it manually, but I'll be using the auto-bend feature of automatic CSS to apply styling to the classes, just for it to go a little bit faster, right? So I would like to call this featured blog FB section. Yeah, that will be the FB section, and the container will be a block, so I'll just leave that out. I'll put it in manually. Let me copy this for now. Intro is good, heading is good, content is good. I'll keep the left out, and the cards, I'll just keep those out for now. Right is, by the way, no, sorry, left is good, right is good, and this is not good, so we take that off. Let's apply the classes, and I'll do it again. I'll only need, you know what, I'll just do this manually. Container, and then I need to go to the card, and this is where I can, this is a block, so whoops. So we have our card media, our card image, our heading, our text basic, and excerpt. I'm just making sure I didn't forget 5. Okay, so we apply that. I'll remove this naming, this can go away. And the second card, we also need to do the same thing, and I will just add FB section card. Okay, so now we are basically done with the styling. Let me see if all, so we have a date, our heading, card 2, the right. I'm looking at if all the classes have been applied to all the elements. Yes. Okay, so we are basically ready to go and start styling. Let me just write this out. I like it. Featured blog section. Okay, save is all there. Okay, so let's start from the top. First, the section. Section is good. Container. I want a container gap. So right mouse click with automatic CSS, and you get the container gap. The same goes for core. Right mouse click, and you can add a spacing because it does not have these variables, right? So you just use the spacing to add your gaps. Obviously, you can create these variables in core and also have the same effect. Okay, so we have these gaps here. We enter into the intro. There's nothing that we need to do here. This is good. We enter into our content. Here we need to add the grid. We need to have a grid because we need 2 columns, right? I'll add a grid gap, right mouse click, add a grid gap, right mouse click, I'll just add a auto grid. Here we go. And then we go to our left column. We don't need to do anything there. On the card, we have to, do I need to do anything here? Here, okay, we need to, I'll create the query loop. So post, and you'll need to add 1. So you'll need to display 1 post, and then I will apply the featured image here. Try to pull that in. Give the featured image a figure tag, and set the object fit to cover. And I will give it a aspect ratio of 16:9, and I will also expand it. Give it 100%. Oops, 100%. Width. Okay, as you can see, I did not add any height because the aspect ratio will make sure that the height is they all have the same height. Okay, next is on the card. I will add a content gap on the row gap field. We add a content gap to give it spacing, right? The media, okay, media is good. Heading, I don't need to do anything here. On the text basic, we shall rename to date. This is a date. So the date, we need to give it a custom HTML tag of time. That's the correct tag, time. And time, the custom tag time has an attribute associated with it, which is date time. So we have a date time, and then here we load in the post date. We also do the same thing for the content of the time. We also load in the post date. Now, why did we add the date time attribute? Is because it makes it machine readable, right, for the search engine, etc. If you want to read more about it, you can visit the W3 Schools or MDN Mozilla documentation, and you can read here, like it says, right, it translates the time into a machine readable format. So the browser can offer to add date reminders to the user calendar. Search engines can produce smarter search results. So that's just the way to set that up. I will be making this a little bit smaller. So I'm giving it a variable of text_s. And what else am I forgetting here? Okay, the heading, I need to also add a post title here. And the excerpt is being automatically loaded, so I don't need to do anything there. So basically this is my card is actually set. So let's style the second card. We just need to add a content gap too. Give it that spacing. I do find it a little bit much, so I will just add a simple calc function, content gap. I'll just divide it by 2. And there you go. It's a little bit smaller. Perfect. So here again, we'll add the post title, and we'll also add this also for the date. So we need to add the dynamic tag there, and we do the same thing here, time. And on the attributes, we will do date, time, and also add the date to it. Okay, so this is also set, and we need to make this smaller, text_s. Okay, so now you might be wondering, okay, why did I not duplicate the same card? Why am I creating a separate card? If I duplicate this card, I am about to add a query loop to this card that the second card on the right column. I'm about to add a query loop to it. So once I add a query loop, and I wanted to show 4 posts, and I wanted to offset by 1, so it will start counting on the second post. So that's what I'm basically doing here. Once I do this, if I was to use the same styling and say, okay, display none on if I add the display none to the featured image and excerpt, it will affect this card. So, and that's not what we want, and it's counting from 1 here, so I cannot start counting from 2. It starts from 1, so this card will be affected. So I need to create a separate card, and this is why this doing it like this is not really efficient. And it's actually, most people that do it this way, they might also be styling on the ID level, so they're not even using classes. So that might be even a faster way to do it, but in the long run, we all know it's not scalable, maintainable, etc. So we're just keeping that in mind and making this scalable and maintainable. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is I want to go to the section, right, add a flex to it, vertical, and I want to space this out, right? And now this spacing is way too much, because if we look at our example, you can see that, okay, the spacing is, there is a lot of spacing, but I could leave it like that, but I will still add a height to the image. Oh, by the way, I forgot one thing. I saw that the image has a rounded corner, so let's put that in. First, let me go to layout. On the overflow, I had it hidden value, and then go to the border, and it's not possible to right mouse click here, so I need to do this manually. Radius M, then enter, and then it's being applied. So we have our rounded corner there, and let me just see how this looks on the front end. Okay, it's looking good. I still don't like the spacing I'm seeing here. By the way, is this on 100%? Let me see. Yeah, this. Okay, I still think the spacing is a bit much, so I'm just going to manipulate the height of the media and make it a little bit smaller, maybe 25 rem. Okay, maybe 28. Yeah, that's a bit better. So yeah, this is pretty cool. Okay, so now basically we have the basics down, right? So we have our, let me just compare it real quick. We have our latest news, and we have our featured blog post, and we have our four, the sub blog post on the right side. And the next thing I want to do is actually make the card clickable, and after that I'll look at the interaction. But so in this next section I'll be making this card clickable. So the first thing we want to do is make sure that your card is set to relative. So the first thing you do, obviously automatic CSS has a class automatically make this clickable, so you search for clickable and you can add a clickable parent. Yeah, sorry, I added it on the wrong spot. I have to add it on the heading, and I have to give this a link. So I'll make this a link, and I'll add it to the heading, and it will automatically expand the link to the whole card, which will allow the whole card to be clickable. So you can see our cursor is turned into the pointer. So you can also do this through CSS by styling. So we're doing it here. So we add in the root, and then we do the following. We actually want to select the after pseudo element of the link, and that's what we're going to expand. So we're doing it like this, and I have to say after, and we add a content. It's empty. Sorry, it's empty. Then we say position absolute. By the way, guys, I'm one of those guys that look at their keyboard when they're typing. I don't know how to type blindly yet, and I don't think I have the patience to unlearn the stuff I've learned. So I type on my own specific way. Anyways, just a side story. Yeah, so we've added a position absolute to our link, and the next thing we need to do is add the property inset. Set that to 0. What this would do is set the top, bottom, left, and right properties to 0. So I don't need to type that all out. So that's that. And we'll just say the cursor, we just add the pointer to it and make that important. Make sure that it comes through. And we're basically set. So I've done this now, added that to the heading. Let's save and let's check it out. Let's see if it works. And there we go. So this is a alternate way of you inserting the clickable parent. So we have a clickable parent now, and yeah, that's basically it. Let me just add it to this other card real quick. I'll just copy this, and the same card we will select select the class, set this to relative, go to the heading, and give it a link. Go to style, add in the code, and this is also done. Here we go. Awesome, right? The next step is to add the interaction to the card. So let's go to the example. You can see it's a subtle interaction. There you go. So we want to create this hover effect. Let's see. Let's go back to our card. We'll be adding the CSS styling to this card. because we want the person, when the person hovers over the card, we want it to move a little bit up, right? So we'll also be using the translate property. Sorry, the transform property. So first, on the root, you want to add a transition. So the duration will be 5 seconds, and you want to set it to ease. So that's that. Just copy this because I don't want to retype it. And on when the user hovers over the card, you want it to transform, and then translate. You want it to affect the vertical side of the card. So translate, and you want it to go up. So I'm going to use a complex calc value, calc C -1 times var space I think excess. Let's see how this works. Okay, see, it's already affecting the card. So let's see if it's the same. Oh, this one is quite slow, right? So maybe I'll create another. I will halve this spacing. So it will be var space s divided by 2, or wait, let's do a large divided by 8. See, it moves. Okay, divided by 6, then maybe 4. Okay, it's pretty similar. Okay, so now we need to put this on the other cards. On this card, we just drop that in, boom. So they all have the same effect. Okay, let's save. There you go. That's looking real good. Okay, so we have our cards created. Let me just check the responsiveness real quick. Right, here we go. So it's auto, so it should just stack automatically. Perfect, we don't need to do anything. It's all set. So as you can see, this is the first way of creating a section like this, right? And the problem here is, let me take this off. The problem here is, let's look at the code, right? And I actually could have done, I forgot to do something. I could have added an ordered list here, but then this side will not be part of the list. Or I could just tag this as articles, also as articles. Could have done that. Maybe I should do that just to make sure that it's a little bit it's a little bit better than it was. So I'll just call this articles. So articles, because I can add a list, because this first supposed to be out of the list is supposed to be added to, because this is the first post, second post, third, fourth, fifth. So the reason why the setup of this is not really optimal is because, first of all, I have, like I said, I have 2 columns, I have 2 query loops, and I cannot, as you can see, if we look at, we're using 2 blocks. Well, I actually want one grid that just flows and all my posts are in the same grid, which is less code, obviously. And as you can see, the first has this image and the rest do not have an image because I did not add it. So this is the first way of creating a block section like this. Now we're going to look at the second way of doing it, and I think I will just duplicate this. Obviously I would have to delete some stuff, so this will be the second one. First of all, I won't need this anymore. I can delete this. I don't need this. I don't need the rights. I don't need this too. And I would need to rename this, but I think I need to add new classes. So I'm just going to remove the classes. So everything we've done is going to go away, but that's okay. That's okay. I'm just going to remove this because I need to add new classes to them to not overwrite the stuff that we've created here. This has to go, this left has to also go, and the content has to go too. As for the intro, the container, everything can stay the same, so you're sharing the same things. You know what, I will also I'll add a new section. Let me add a new section. I will call this section 2, just to make things easier. So this will be section 2, and I will remove this, and this section I'll give it a background color. Let's see, yeah, ultralight. It's awesome. Cool. Okay, so now let's add the classes to it. So I'll start with a card. Just add it to BAM. This will be FB section 2 card. Let me just copy the first, so I don't need to do it. So we can add these classes. So these are all new classes. The left, we don't need to do this. We don't need to add it to the card. Nope, nope, nope. Just this one, which is left, because this will be a, I'll just call this now, I'll just call this list. Yeah, list, or yeah, just list UL is okay. Okay, so we've added this. Cool. And we also need to this content also needs to get a new tag, new class, sorry. Okay, so we've added that in. We have our call it list UL. So we have our list, we have our card, and yeah, so now basically we can create our grid, which we'll be doing on the list UL element. So first thing I do is to create a grid. So we have a grid, we add a grid gap. Let's look here. We need two columns, and we need 4 rows, because every single post is 4 rows, 1, 2, 3. So two columns and 4 rows. There you go. So at first in the builder it looks super long, and you might be confused. Okay, why is super long? Once we start adding in the post, it will adjust. So don't feel like, oh, what's going on, right? It will adjust. Just keep in mind what we're doing here. And I'll also add the wait, let me switch this. Have you guys noticed that once you set your grid or flex, the items here don't change? Maybe I might be the only one. I don't know if someone else has complained about this before, but it doesn't change visually, right? Sometimes you need to first go to style and then back, and then it changes. Anyways, so align items, set it to start. Now let's style a card. We need a content gap first for the spacing. We need to set our date to text S. Everything is set. We have our attributes. Everything is good. This is also good. We don't have our code though, which I'm going to steal from here. So I'm not going to rewrite. So we make this so we have a clickable. Oops, this is on the ID. Always make sure you click on your class. So we have our yeah, that's there, set clickable parent. See, the card is already clickable. I think I need the interaction too. We also need that, so let me just copy that. Whoa, boom. Okay, let's paste that in. There you go. So we have the same interaction. And now on the card, the query loop, I'm going to add 5 posts, right? So we have 5 posts. I see I've not added, wait, the image, I forgot to style the image. So on the image, we need to set this to cover, give this the aspect ratio of 16:9, and we need to give this a width of 100%, and we need to give this a height of 28 rem. There we go. There we go. And let me save this. Let me just refresh this because, yeah, I thought so. The other cards were not refreshing. So this is basically how it looks. So now we cannot add the grid columns and stuff here because it will affect all the other cards. And it's not like I can select every individual card and add the specific grid column or whatever, right? That would also be very inefficient. So what I'm going to do is go to the CSS, go down here and say root. I will target the first child. So we're targeting the first featured post, right? And we're gonna say the grid row, we want it to span 4 columns because that's the height. It's 4 columns, so we say span 4. And this is basically our setup. And now you might still be thinking, hey, it doesn't look like it doesn't look the way it's supposed to look like. And you're right, it doesn't look the way it's supposed to look like. But we're not done yet. So the next thing we're going to do is we want to remove the featured image and the excerpt from the 2nd to the 5th card. And there's a long-winded way of doing it, and there's a very easy way of doing it. I'll first show you the long-winded way, and then we'll do it the easy way. So the first way of doing it that will enable you to write a lot of CSS is doing it this way. So we could say root and child 2, and then we target. Why is my I don't understand. Sometimes when you should write the first root and then write R tab, it works, and sometimes it doesn't work. I don't know. So we're targeting the media, and we say display none, right? Okay. And I'm going to just duplicate this and do it for the excerpt. Now I'm not going to duplicate it for every single rule. So wait, let me see. Did I write it correctly? Excerpt. Wait. Oh, post excerpt, my bad. I made a mistake there, so it's post excerpt. Okay, so that's gone now. So what I'm going to do is just duplicate the same rule. I wanted to target the 3rd, the 4th, right? Am I right? So 3rd, the 4th, and the 5th. Yeah, I'll do the same for this one too. Made a mistake here. So 3, 4, 5. And I made a mistake here too. I have some typos. Wait, oh, here. Aha, so doing it this way obviously it's a lot of CSS styling, but there's a more efficient way of doing it. So we can say every select, how do I say it? We're going to use the not pseudo class. So every how you say it, every card that is not the first child will receive a certain kind of styling. That's basically the rule that we're writing here. So follow me. Every card that is not the first child will receive a certain kind of styling. And as you can, by hearing that rule, it's already make it easy for me to target the media and the excerpt in shorter code, right? So it looks basically like this. So we have our root. Wait, let me first comment this out. Let me comment this out. This will look like this. So our root says not. So it's not the first child, because that's what we want to make sure that we target not the first child, and then root media we're going to say display now. Boom. See, it targeted them all, removed the media. So we then just need to copy this and then add post excerpt here. And voila, we have the same effect with by writing less, by targeting less selectors. See? So I'll just remove this, we don't need it anymore. And this, one more thing I need to do is on mobile landscape, we need to do some styling here because it's not auto, it's not set to auto. So we go back to our list UL and we set the grid to 1, and our template rows is do on set. And what we want to do is, as you can see, our featured post is still spanning 4 columns, which we do not want to, so we need to reset this. So I'll go back to my styling on the card and write a media query here. So media, say max width 767 pixels, and here I will set the grid row to set. So I'm just resetting it. So remove, just reset. So now you can see the lines, the span is gone. It's all good. And I think I could also set it to span 1, or yeah, span 1, but on set is also good. So we have our layout. So as you've seen, wait, am I missing something? Why don't I see the, oh wait, something is, I can see the interaction. What happened? Did I miss something here? Did I make a mistake somewhere? Root, transition, translate. Why is my okay, this is weird. Oh wait, something, I have made a mistake. As you can see, I did not add a position relative somewhere. It is, you see the whole page is clickable. So I must have not added relative here. You see, there we go. Okay, so it's back again. Okay, so that was the issue. See why you need to add position relative, or else it will I think if you don't add position relative and use position absolute, it will go to it the nearest parent, which is I think it's the HTML tag. Okay, so we basically have what we wanted. Oh, I need to reduce the. Oh, see here, guys, I added this on the ID, which is not supposed to happen. So there. Let's go back to this card, and I want it to be halved. Yes, there we go. You see what we've created, guys? So in this, oh, am I even done here? Look at this. Oh, obviously, yeah. You know what? Let's just leave it as this. I forgot to also add a radius to the image, so let me do that real quick. Radius m, and set this to hidden. So we have our rounded corners. Okay, so let's inspect the DOM, and you'll see here that I don't know why I'm forgetting so many things today, right? Sorry, guys. I forgot to add the tag UL. I just totally skipped over it. So UL, and the card has to be a list instead of article list. And on the UL, we can add a utility class of list none. If you're using core, you will have to add a padding here. You have padding 0 because it adds a UL always adds an indentation of 40 pixels. It adds automatically 40 pixels to your elements, and you might have to go to CSS and add list style none if you get those list styles, right? Those dark circles. So using this utility class automatically solves those issues. So there we have our utility class. Let me show you how the DOM looks now. So we have a UL. Let's check on the example that Sridhar created. You see also the same structure. We have a UL and the Lee, right? See? Let's go back here. Let me just move it close together. And the first has the image and the excerpt. And the second also has the image and the excerpt, but it's hidden. But it's at least, well, it's hidden on the page, so it's still in the DOM, right? While his version, if you go to the second post, it's totally gone out of the DOM, which is due to this code. And now I'm going to show you the last version of doing this, and the most efficient, right? Actually removing. So we used display none before. Now we're actually removing it out of the DOM. So let's take this code, add it to your favorite code snippets plugin now. WP Codebox, code snippets, advanced scripts, whatever code snippet plugin you use. So let's go back to Bricks. Just reload, and WP Codebox. I totally do not know what to call this. Let me see if there's a name. I'll just call it hide featured image and excerpt. And I will just put it in and save. And then I will enable it. So the next step, if you just go through his the steps that he has laid out here, is to ensure that this condition is present on the image and excerpt elements. So we need to take this condition. I've already written it out because I'm not going to be typing it. So there, I just copy that. So basically I copied this, what's here. And I'm going to go to Bricks. And then I will go to media because I want to hide the whole media element with the image. I'll go to interaction conditions, sorry, dynamic data, paste in the code and add 1, and I'll do the same for the excerpt. Let me see if I'm okay. On the class, dynamic, paste in the code and add 1. Okay, so I'm going to save, and then let's go and see. This is the moment of truth. Let's check our code. So the first one is good. Let's see if the second one, and it's gone. It's like magic. So I actually just did this tutorials to show you guys different ways of obviously building a section like this, how to use the clickable parent, how to add an interaction to your card, how to use CSS grid, and obviously also how to build an effective, efficient block section where you actually hide the featured image and the excerpt from the DOM. It's totally removed from the DOM, right? So shout out to Sridhar for this. It was a very good learning process. Hope you guys learned a lot from this. I will post this link in the descriptions below, so you can visit it, you can grab this code, you can also go to his site and get yourself some free stuff. And I will also be, if you guys are interested in this template, I can also make it available. So yeah, if there is interest, I can make it available. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for taking the time to go through this with me. It's a pretty long video. I think we're almost at 47 minutes. Might reach the 50 before I'm done. But there's a lot to learn, a lot to see, and I will be making more of these videos. I'll also be recreating the blocks that you can find in the library, but I think we can learn so much from them, and we'll be looking at different kind of CSS classes and exploring them and learning as we go. So thank you guys once again for watching, and have a very nice day.